This is the day where where you guys come in and I answer all your stock market investing questions, and we also have some conversations about economics and wealth from a black perspective. You guys know that I'm not a black man. I'm not a finance professor who happens to be a black man. I'm a black man who happens to be a finance professor. So, good morning, everybody. Hey, Errol, how are you from Pompano? He says, solid prime class last night. See you in the A. Great. See you in the A, number one. Can't wait to see you. As you guys know, this is the biggest week of the year for the Black Business School. This is the week of the All Black National Convention. We've been doing this since 2015, and that is the largest event on earth for intelligent Black people who are building the Black community. And we're very proud to say that we're doing this without any government money and any corporate sponsorship. And the reason that that's important is because we need to be able to solve our problems in a unique way and be able to have real capital and real wealth. One of the biggest problems that we have in our community, pay attention, one of the reasons that a lot of our problems don't get solved is because we depend on other people to solve them. And then also we depend on other people to pay for the solution. And one thing I can tell you as a finance PhD is that money is power. Money is absolutely power. And if you don't have your own money, then you will almost never have any power. And one of the things that happens that where people make this terrible mistake, in my opinion, is because they don't understand how correlated capitalism is with racism. It's so correlated that a lot of times we think it's racism when really it's capitalism, or we think it's capitalism when it's really racism, because capitalism feeds off weakness, right? So racism is a weakness that we have to endure because we're Black. Well, one of the things that I noticed is that there are a lot of us who make the mistake of assuming that borrowed power is the same as actually having power. That borrowed power is the same as built power. And one of the things I want you to really understand, and this is what makes the Black Business School different from any university you'll ever attend, any HBCU, is that we don't believe you can borrow real power. I believe that to get real power, you're going to actually have to build it. It takes work, it takes time, it takes commitment, it takes investment, it takes patience, consistency, things like that. Sometimes it might take a generation to build a $1 billion company that can really, really move the needle. A lot of times you have folks that maybe get nice jobs, right? And they say, well, I'm the vice president at IBM or something, right? And they feel like, okay, I'm really helping the Black community. And and the question I end up asking is, well, are you really? What are you really able to do from that position? Because you can't really get anything done unless you ask your boss. You can't move the direction of that ship. You're the captain of the ship to some extent, but it's not your ship. So you're a captain who's taking orders, right? So a lot of times I use my little puppet. Charlie the Negro naysayer, right? The Negro naysayer who finds a problem for every solution. Sometimes I bring him in when I want to just have fun. And I explain it like this and say, this puppet has no real power. This puppet appears to have a voice, but he really doesn't have a voice. He can only talk if I let him talk, right? So if he says, I hate Black people. Black people can't accomplish anything. We're just terrible. We need to blah, blah, right? Well, it's not like he's actually saying this, right? It's me saying it through him, right? So because I'm actually in control. So effectively, to some extent, if you want to understand why we do the All Black National Convention the way we do it, with where we turn down funding from major corporations, we turn down government money, things like that. We do it that way because we understand that we need to be able to call the shots. We need to be able to define the trajectory, the direction. We need to be in a position where we can't be canceled by anybody, and that's really important. It takes a lot more work. Believe me, we worked the whole year raising the money for this convention. It's very difficult to do, but I was absolutely insistent. I said we cannot take money from the Democrat or Republican parties because the thing about, and we can't take money from major corporations, because the other thing too that you have to understand is that nobody gives you anything for free. In the world of finance and capitalism, which I understand really well, people don't give you money just to be nice. They give you money, and they're not going to give you power. Right? Power has to be taken, and also when they give you money, they're going to have an agenda. And if you're not working for the person giving you the money, then you're going to end up losing that money or losing that influence, et cetera. So long story short, I'm super proud of the convention. Thank you guys for coming out and being a part of it. I just spoke yesterday to Dr. George C. Fraser, who is one of the speakers at the convention. In case you don't know, Dr. Fraser wrote a book called Success Runs in Our Race. It is required reading at every HBCU in America. He's an absolute guru. He's the networking guru of the world. He knows everybody, all the way up to Oprah, Stedman, people like that. And we talked for a very long time, and we were talking last night about a Black business Hall of Fame that he is seeking to fund. It's going to cost $600 million, and he wants to be able to establish, as part of just the legacy of this whole movement, a massive museum that's going to basically honor Black business owners the same way we honor athletes and entertainers and things like that. And so anyway, he'll be at the convention along with a lot of other great people. Mike Roberts, the billionaire out of St. Louis, he always comes to the convention, and he loves us. We love him. And there are a lot of other great people. So feel free to join us in Atlanta. We're going to start Friday. That's the VIP day, and then if you want, and then the general access day is Saturday and Sunday. And so go to allblacknationalconvention.com if you'd like to either attend physically or virtually. There probably won't be any passes at the door, though. Right, by the time you get so if I were you, I'd buy it online, because I don't think we're going to have anything available if you just walk up and try to buy a ticket at the door. I don't know if anything will be there. All right, so anyway, let me keep going here. All right, so I want to say hello to Kendall Green and Otis McDonald and Shauna. Good to see you, Shauna. And Norman Dixon. Good to see you, Norman, out of Greensboro, North Carolina. All right, so let me lay out something that was on my mind today. I want to start our conversation here. I always want to start with a lesson that will help you in your journey in terms of understanding wealth, but also acquiring and sort of positioning yourself to be able to be economically successful. I want to talk about the fact that there are, despite what you might hear in the media or despite what you might hear in statistics, there are thousands and thousands of Black families that are doing extremely well, that are doing very well financially, that are in a really strong economic position. When I go to places, like when I go to the convention, and some of the folks at the convention are struggling, are still getting the rocket off the ground, and then some folks are literally sitting on hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, that kind of thing. And I like hearing all the stories, because I don't think that we should commit to one narrative about sort of what it means to be Black, that being Black means you're always struggling, you're always poor, you're always traumatized, etc. Some people can break the programming, right? And but then some of us can't. Somebody sent me, since folks hear me talk about hip hop and doing commentaries on hip hop, stuff like that. Somebody sent me a song this morning about where a lady was rapping, and she had her kids in her arm. She had one kid in her arm, another baby that was dancing to the song, and the chorus was something like, F my baby daddy, F my baby daddy. And in the whole song, she's saying, threatening other women, I'll come kill you, and I'll do this and I'll do that, right? And it's kind of crazy, because it actually had a nice beat, right? Which is really sad, right? That this terrible song had a nice beat. And it speaks to some of the things that we discuss in our Black financial therapy department. By the way, we're adding a new therapist she's actually a mayor of a city, and she wants to join the faculty at the Black Business School. Anyway, one of the things that happens is you're programmed through your subconscious mind by repetition. So I was listening to the song, and I could hear her repeatedly say, F my baby daddy, F my baby daddy, to a catchy beat, and I could see somebody singing along to it. I found myself enjoying the song, because I never had a baby daddy, right? But I just was like, wow, I can see where somebody would like this song, but you see where the toxicity is, right? So there are some of us that are hit by just massive amounts of programming, can't break out of that. That's fine. But there are a lot of you who should be acknowledged as well, who are doing extremely well, doing better than white people. And I wanted to kind of highlight maybe 3 or 4 things that you can think about that will really help you understand that this is not complicated. This is not rocket science. Understanding how to secure wealth for your family is not a difficult thing unless you do what they tell you to do. If you do what they tell you to do, then it does become hard. It's like trying to grow flowers in the desert. If a person says, hey, if you want to grow a flower, go plant it in the middle of the Mojave Desert, well, then you're going to be very frustrated. You're going to say, man, flowers just don't grow. You can water them all day and they don't want to grow, and this is terrible. It's so unfair, right? But if you learn to listen and understand, like, okay, this person's telling me to plant flowers in the desert, I probably should go plant flowers in a better environment. Well, then you'll find that flowers grow like crazy. Do you understand what I mean? Give me a guess if you follow that logic here. And so effectively what I want to do is help you not listen to people that are telling you to grow flowers in the desert. Okay. I want to tell you how to grow flowers in a greenhouse or in a place where there's plenty of water, plenty of sunlight, plenty of good soil. Okay. And I talk about this a lot actually in my book. You guys know my latest book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. Some of you requested that I get it on Audible, which we did. It's going to be on Audible, I think, at the end of the month. So you can order it there or get it at drboycebooks.com if you want an autographed copy. So here are a few things that are making the difference in terms of those families that are making millions of dollars. Number one, when they're walking away from this whole get a job culture, getting a job, especially if you only have one job, that really is incredibly risky economically. Number one, you're at a huge risk. If you're in that position, then you better not move or wiggle too much, because if you make a mistake or you say something out of line or you have an economic shock, we call them shocks, meaning when things go wrong, you're going to be in big trouble, right? Because they take that job away, you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're kind of done. It's really, really hard to live that way, right? And so ultimately, families that are doing better are training their kids not to live on the edge. They're encouraging them to pursue entrepreneurship and like their life depending on, like that's the most important thing for a young Black child to learn. Well, why is that? Well, because number one, it gives you multiple streams of income, which reduces, in economics, we call that income smoothing or risk management. You're managing your risk because you now aren't depending on one source of income to take care of yourself. You're depending on multiple sources, right? And then also the other thing is entrepreneurship gives you that upside. It gives you that possibility to scale. If I take a job, even if I'm a college educated person, and I get a job making $60,000 a year, what are the odds that my boss is going to wake up one day and decide to pay me $100,000 a month? Zero. They're not going to do that. That's not going to, or 50,000 a month. My boss will never do that, right? Because I have a ceiling on my economic potential. However, if you are an entrepreneur and you learn to sell a product and you find people that need it, then I know plenty of entrepreneurs who came right out of the Black Business School who are making $100,000 a month. I know entrepreneurs where they don't even think it's a big deal. If you go to Traffic Sales and Profit, Lamar Tyler's outfit, Lamar and I work together a lot. He gives the Black Business School a lot of credit for helping get his platform off the ground and everything else. That room is full of Black people, just like you and I, who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. Like if you walk in there and you're making 150,000 a month, and you think that you're the highest paid person in the room, you're probably wrong. I think there are people in that room that are literally making close to $1 million a month, selling things that Black people buy every day, that white people buy every day, right? So, and the mindset is just completely different, but they're just like us. They're no different from us, right? Listen to the same music, eat the same food, whatever, right? Live the same life. And so that's another thing. Another piece is speaking on the income piece and the risk piece is that the families that tend to do really well also understand some of the concepts I've been talking to you guys about for years, which is the importance of family and relationships in building wealth. So when I'm talking about getting married and things like that, I'm not just talking about it in terms of, picking the prettiest girl and having great sex with somebody. I'm talking about it in terms of seeing that relationship as another way to smooth your income, right? When you have that other person in the house that's helping you, then that reduces the amount of economic stress on the household. It's the lowest. One of the ways to not be in the lowest economic category is to identify commonalities among the people that get stuck in that pit and walking away from those variables, right? So the lowest net worth in America tends to be held by single Black mothers with children, and right there are fathers that have multiple kids in multiple households. So if I'm smart and I'm thinking economically, in an intelligent way, then I'm going to think about my dating, mating choices as deeply connected to my economic outcomes. Do you understand what I mean? Right? I can't think of them as being separate. I can't say, well, I'm going to work hard and make a lot of money, but I'm going to go out here and be sloppy and irresponsible with who I choose to sleep with. Those two things are connected. And this was something that I figured out probably. I think I figured it out probably in my late 20s. I think something like that. And it's something that I've just believed to the core. And if you don't believe me, go look at people that are struggling economically, and then look at their family situation. A lot of times, if the money's messy, the family situation and the dating situation's messy, right? Because you lose a lot of money, time, and resources spending time around people that just aren't adding value. Okay. All right. Now, Errol says, how can I make a donation to the Black Business School? Actually, we do not take donations, Errol. We do not charity. I mean, we appreciate it. Thank you. And if anybody's dying and you want to leave your inheritance to the school or part of it or something, then yeah, absolutely. We'd love to get support like that. I'm leaving 75% of my wealth to the school. But if you want to help us, we'd rather do trade than charity, right? So effectively, if you see some stuff going on in the school and you can support that, that is awesome. Like, so we'd love to give you something in exchange. So for example, we have one program called Each One Teach One, where we are inviting anybody and everybody that is B1 to go into business with us. My book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, is very popular. It's it's an Amazon bestseller. Everybody loves it, and it's very helpful. So what we've said to people is, if you go to drboycebooks.com, you can hit the search box, search for Each One Teach One. The search box is in the upper left-hand corner, and you can get 10 books instead of just one. And we chop the price by like 40 or 50%, something like that. And I think between 40 and 50%. How does that help? Well, number one, if you just want to buy a bunch of books and just give them away, that's available to you. Or if you want to sell them, you can actually, charge a retail price and just sell them to people and then make that into a business. Like, that's awesome. That helps us and it helps you and everybody wins, right? And it helps the person you're selling to, right? So it's a great ecosystem. So those are ways we'd love to get support. We don't really want donations and stuff. That's not what we ask for. So let's keep going. All right. So what are some other ways families are being able to hit that, that high net worth status? Other things that people are doing is embracing the importance of time and embracing the importance of sort of allowing things to flesh out and not getting caught up in the fast money thinking, but really getting caught up in the slow money thinking. The slow money is the sturdy money. The institutions that are built over time tend to be the ones that can stand the test of time. If you look at the history of companies like McDonald's and UPS and whatever, name any big companies out there, most of these companies took many decades to build. Most economic empires take time. And that gets distorted when you turn on the TV and you see some NBA player, sign a $200 million contract and he's 20 years old. That's not realistic for most people. And so effectively, instead of looking at the pathway of the player, I would look at the pathway of the team owner. I would teach my kids kind of like, okay, let's look at the history of the Dallas Cowboys and look at what their value. We know that they're worth $8 to $10 billion today, but what were they worth 20 years ago? What were they worth 40 years ago? What were they worth 60 years ago? And how did we get from a team that could have been bought maybe for $50,000 a few decades ago to a team that's worth $10 billion? Or how is it that the Chicago Bears were being sold for $50 when the NFL first started, but now the Chicago Bears are worth $5.5 to $6 billion? Same family, right? Same family. It's just they had some visionary in that family that said, let me buy this asset and let me nurture this asset into growth so that my grandchildren won't have any financial problems. So families that tend to embrace time have understood and learned that important secret to wealth. Your equivalent to that, I'm not telling you to go out and buy the Dallas Cowboys. What I am saying is that we have, when I lay out that $5 a day investing plan, that is, I talk about that consistently because it is epically powerful and incredibly simple. It literally will solve every single financial problem your family has if you give it enough time. And also, if a person simply decided from a cultural standpoint that you love your child as much as you love your car, and you said, okay, whatever I spend on my car note, I'm going to make sure I put that same amount in the S&P 500. We even tell you what you can invest in that'll make it work. Then literally within one decade, your family is in a whole different tax bracket. Within one generation, you're literally looking like the rich people in the neighborhood. You're moving to you're living with the rich people, and then you have rich people problems instead of poor people problems. I showed you guys that a person who invests, the average new car note is $750 approximately, something like that. So I said, if a person did the $5 a day plan, but did it with the amount of a new car note, $750 a month, if they could afford it, within one decade, you'd have, I want to say the number was about 100, was it 150,000, something like that, 140,000 liquid. And then after 20 years, you're talking about $500,000. After 30 years, you're talking about 1.25 million. After 40 years, you're talking about 3.75 million, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm doing the math right. Right. So and give or take a few thousand, right? So my point is to say that it's easy to become a millionaire in this country. It sounds stupid to say that. It sounds crazy. Nobody's going to believe me. Everyone's going to fight with me, but it's okay. I can fight. I can debate people because I'm fully confident in what I know. And but it's very easy to become a millionaire, but the hard part is shifting your thinking. That's it. It's just, but if you just follow along and do what you're told, it's not going to work. Okay. All right. So anyway, guys, just a reminder. So the convention, if you want to learn about the convention, just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. Also, if you want to see the $5 a day plan, you can go to boycewatkins.com. Also, another reminder, we have a social media platform, B1 Nation. If you want to network with other like-minded people who are also wealth builders and who believe in the B1 philosophy, just go to b1nation.us, the number one nation.us, not .com, it's .us. And make sure when you answer the questions, though, you let us know that you're you, like you put B1 in the answers or something like that. That way we know you're not a spammer or a troll, okay? Because any of that nonsense, we boot that out. We're serious people. We're in a serious space. We want to get serious things done, and we don't have time to waste with nonsense. So b1nation.us is where you can go sign up. All right. So let me